I want to introduce Jazmin. Jazmin joined Seed Your Future as executive director with over a decade of change and systems management experience. With a solid knowledge of associations and philanthropy, she brought her skills and expertise in planning, leading, and management development projects and programs to the movement. She has experience in a broad range of nonprofit organizations, including those focused on crisis support, youth development, and workforce development. Jazmin will lead Seed Your Future's next phase of growth, promoting horticulture, floriculture, and agriculture, and the nationwide expansion of career development opportunities with plants. Please, everyone, join me in welcoming Jazmin Albarran. Thank you, Jazmin. It's all yours.
Thank you for that introduction, and thank you all for being here. I'm excited to connect with all of you. Let me share my screen. Perfect. Well, again, thank you for being here to learn a little bit about Seed Your Future and how you can help us in connecting with that next generation of professionals for our industry. I'm going to share information about our resources that you have access to that are free. You are planting the seeds of tomorrow, right? Cultivating the passion for plants in your own communities, and you can do all that through the resources that Seed Your Future has. Jazmin Albarran, Exec Director, and my background is mental health and youth development. Had no idea this world existed, had no idea all of the careers that are in the horticulture industry. And that is a lot of people, that's a lot of students. So having that background has really helped me figure out, okay, how can we find all these young people that love plants, love nature, love the outdoors, right? That are thinking about sustainability, conservation, climate change, right? Those are all careers that are very important, and that through plants, you can touch those careers. So again, excited to be here, excited to be with Seed Your Future. It's been 2.5 years now. Steep learning curve, like I mentioned, I didn't know about this industry, but have had so much support from industry in all the different sectors. Seed Your Future is not just about the plant jobs. We're also highlighting careers within marketing, accounting, HR, graphic design, communications, sales, customer service, right? We need those careers in this industry as well to make sure that we're successful. So thanks again. Our mission is to promote horticulture and inspire people to pursue careers working with plants. I mean, we envision a nation where people understand the power of plants and are aware of the promising careers in the art, science, technology, and business of horticulture. A lot of people, when they think about horticulture, they think about just the person cutting our grass or the farmer in overalls with the pitchfork, right? And you know the breadth and depth of this industry. And so that's something that we're trying to showcase with the general public. And we have tons of resources to do that. So I'm going to share a little bit about those going forward, but we are focusing on building a stronger pipeline of talent to bolster all of these different positions that we need, right? And we are working towards reaching that next generation of young professionals. And I'm going to share a little bit more about how we do that, because these are all going to be future employees that are working with you or for you. So Seed Your Future got started in 2014. So this is year 10 for Seed Your Future. And we got started by a lot of volunteers, similar to the volunteers that are having here that are manning the conference. They got together at a conference and said, we can keep talking about the issues or we can be a part of it. The solution to figure out how to bring in more labor and build that awareness into the industry. And so they did several phases of research to understand, well, who does Seed Your Future need to be, right? And the first phase was talking to industry and asking, why can't you find staff? What kind of support do you need? The second phase, we did a telephone survey across the country to get to know what the perceptions are of the industry career-wise, and then do the people know what the word horticulture meant. You can find those findings on our website. There's a screenshot. You go to our main page, research, and then you can pull up all the research that we've done to date. And in the third phase, we talked to middle school students about similar, what do you know about jobs working with plants and how do you want to learn about those things? And all of those years of research and created Seed Your Future, our target audiences, and how we built resources that I'll review with you in a minute. And just to put things in perspective, 39% of jobs in this green industry, in the greater horticulture, so between floral, landscape, produce, ornamental hort, 39% of those jobs go unfilled just because people are not aware they exist, right? There's so many students and young people that love nature, love the outdoors, love plants, but don't know how that can equate to a career for them based on their interests. And so those are some of the people that we're trying to get in front of to showcase, hey, here's this wonderful industry that you can be a part of and what those careers might look like. So here is who Seed Your Future is. You're Seed Your Future. I'm Seed Your Future, right? The organization needs support from everybody around the country connecting with those schools and students in your backyard. But we are industry professionals that are donating to Seed Your Future financially or with volunteer hours to help us do all the work. So we were, again, originally formed in 2024 with a partnership with the American Society for Horticultural Science. That's the conference where these horticulture department chairs and professors first started thinking about Seed Your Future. And then they brought in Longwood Gardens and Ball Horticulture Company to support the program financially and with volunteer support to grow the movement. And here we are 10 years later. So similar, love to give a shout out to our donors that without them, we wouldn't be able to be here to create all of these free resources and maintain them to connect with the next generation of professionals in the industry. Here's a picture of me with some of the FFA students at Longwood Gardens event, Earth Day event in 2022. So we are always looking for opportunities to connect. So if you have any activities in your local neighborhood, we would love to send you some of our resources that you can get in front of those students. So in how we are creating that workforce of the future, right? We're building awareness, creating a favorable perception of horticulture and increase awareness of those careers that are working with plants and flowers and produce for young people and youth and career changers. Through the pandemic, we heard from a lot of people that said, I can't go back to that 9 to 5. What can I do? So we are for them as well. Education, we want to engage and excite young people about horticulture and the careers working with plants, workforce development, right? Increasing that skilled workforce in horticulture and develop a strong pipeline of talent. We do it through partnerships, right? Cultivating and strengthening partnerships that help us connect with students, with youth groups, outdoor groups, anyone that should know about Seed Your Future and the resources that we have for career exploration within all of the horticulture sectors. And then resource development, which is fundraising, right? We need to be able to fundraise so that we can maintain and create new resources. And so now we're going to jump into what are those free resources that we have that you can use to engage students in your backyard. Our resources start for middle school students and they go into high school, college, and again, some resources for career changers. In elementary, you foster the passion for the outdoors, for nature, for gardening. You can start having conversations about careers, but in middle school is when a lot of students have to pick a high school based on that interest, or they have to really start thinking about what they want to be when they grow up. And so that's when you really start having the access to provide information about, and here are some career exploration tools that you can use to do a deep dive into horticulture and what those careers might look like. So there's a quick little snapshot of what we have. And because we're in a digital space, I can actually walk you through the resources on our website. So this is our landing page. If you go to resources students, that's going to take you exactly where you want to do to showcase all the wonderful things that we have in the industry. Let's start with career. We have 140 career profiles on the website, and they all are set up about the same. Here, we're going to click on one so you can see what they look like. The name of the career, an image, a description. We provide information whether this career needs a certificate versus a PhD. We have a where to study map that has the 2-year and 4-year plant science degrees across the country and Canada. There's information about salary, so students would have an idea of how much they would make in this career. We link to professional organizations someone in this career should stay connected to. There's a video and a day in the life of that career to give students a sneak peek at what the career looks like. And if we know of a job board where a student can apply to that particular type of career, we link to try to be very thorough. We want to be a hub of information for young people looking to come into the industry or move around within the industry. We list industry scholarships. So if you had a scholarship or a university, another nonprofit, for-profit, as long as it's related within the plant sciences, we get them listed here by the area of study, and then also who's providing the scholarship. Similar with internships. If you have internships, you can send them our way and we'll get them posted here. Area of study, by the company. And then this one, we break it out by state because we know some students want to stay local and some want to be able to travel. So we're always thinking about how do we make this very user-friendly for students, parents, and teachers that are looking at coming into the industry. Here is the where to study map I mentioned in the profile. You can move it around. It's a Google map, zoom in, zoom out. You can search through the particular program you're looking for, or student, teacher, parent can click right on a sprout. It gives you the name of the school, the address, what degrees they have. And when you click on the more info button, it takes you to the landing page of that program. Again, cutting back the amount of research students have to do to figure out, okay, what college do I need to register for? We list horticulture camps on the website as well. There are a lot of botanic gardens or universities that will have horticulture camps. Again, we just want to show the diversity and get students in front of as many different opportunities around horticulture to explore. So we get those listed. If you know of any, send them my way. Now we're going to go into the We Are Bloom, and that has its own website, and here it is. So when we did some of that research with those middle school students, they said, we love your website, but we want our own place to hang out. So we created the We Are Bloom campaign, which is geared towards middle school. But we've heard a lot of high school teachers use those curriculums and those games and the resources. And so this website, it caters to parents, partners, students, teachers, youth leaders as well. The really fun part is this quiz. So as I mentioned, students often know they love the outdoors, they love nature, but how does that equate to a job? How does that, help me with a career? So this quiz is meant to give students, and I've had adults take the quiz as well, a short list of potential careers so that it doesn't seem as overwhelming. And we're going to take the quiz really quick so you can see what it's like. Inside or outside, we'll say outside. What would you rather, let's say, do? How would you get there? Let's say skateboard. What are you watching? Action, and choose one, say sunglasses. So depending on how the student takes the quiz, it's going to give you a persona. And then it will say, and here are some careers you might be interested in based on how you took the quiz. And then all of these link back to the long list. So you get your short list to start having the conversation about, okay, this might be a good interest, but then here's a list of 100+ things that they might be interested in. So I recommend everybody take the quiz. Here, I will quickly drop this into the chat if you want to fill it out while we're doing it. And then we also have a YouTube channel that has a variety of videos. You could use these videos, again, when you're in conversation with students, when you're sending an email out to your clients, right? Any and every way they can be used. We want to be a hub of resource for starting that conversation about careers in the industry. And a variety of these are experiment-based. These talk about the power of plants in fashion and pharmaceuticals and sports, on our mental health. You can see they're really short. You can grab these and put them on social media, right? We don't care how you use our resources. We just want you to use them to connect with even more young people or those career changers to know that here is an industry that's ready and wants more people to come into it. The newest addition is at the bottom. The Corteva AgriScience gave us a grant to create 10 horticulture STEM career videos. The word STEM resonates with parents, students, and teachers, but they don't necessarily think about that in the plant world. So we wanted to show, and how much STEM is in the industry. So we just wanted to have another resource that's specifically focused on that. I mentioned a little bit about the job board aggregator. So think about what schools are around you? What community colleges, what trade schools, what colleges have horticulture clubs, have plant sales? That's a great group to engage with. They're always looking for professionals that can come and do lectures for the group, come in and talk about your company as an employer, right? These are all students that are invested in plants. But again, the more that we can show them, these are the different things that you can do within the industry, the better it's going to be. So this is a flyer that we put together with the University of Georgia that we use for other universities as well. So when they have their plant sale, it's what the community is coming to buy those. Other students from the campus are coming to buy those. And so we wanted to make sure that not only can students think about, okay, I want to go buy this plant, but we want to remind them, hey, and here are the information about careers in the industry. Because most people, again, they have a very limited perception and understanding of the careers that this industry has. So just think about what are some of those outside the box ideas that you can do to put your company, your business, your careers, horticulture in front of other students in your community. So what's next for Seed Your Future? We've got all those digital resources. This is year 10. So we wanted to do something new and different. And again, just thinking about how we continue to grow our resources. We are going to have a educator training this summer. We're bringing together 30 science teachers from across the country, high school teachers, and we are going to do a field trip essentially for them. Every morning, we're going to take them to a different horticulture business so they can see the difference and they can see the careers and what they look like. So plant careers, but then also those admin careers. We are also going to task the teachers with creating a lesson plan that is going to tie a science module to a horticulture career. We know educators want to have conversations in the classroom about careers, but if they don't have the resources, we can't expect them to have those conversations. If they don't know the careers that are in this industry, we can't expect them to have those conversations, right? So we are wanting to provide resources to make those conversations a little bit easier. And so we're going to have, by the end of this year, hopefully October or so, we're going to have 30 lesson plans. We're bringing a teacher in from a different state. Every state teaches science, but they all do it differently. And if we can have 30 lesson plans, so a teacher from, Maryland, Ohio, et cetera, that teacher can align this lesson with their curriculum, even better. And we are going to pay an additional fee to have them all aligned to the next generation science standards so that any teacher can use it across the country. Teachers can't grab anything off the internet and implement it in the classroom. It has to have that seal of approval. And again, because we want to make sure that any teacher can use it, we are going to have that alignment as well. So very excited. Applications are open through March 8th. And so shortly after that, we will narrow it down to those 30 teachers and start having some communications with them virtually and then bring them together for that in person in June. So I'm definitely very looking forward to that. We are working on our second salary survey. We had the first one in the fall of 2022. The report is out. It's on our website. Feel free to go and check it out. It is 76 pages long because we did a comparison between the horticulture sectors, 8 of them to be specific. The next one we going out January 2025. Please, please, please fill out the survey. It is 100% confidential. We need that data to show, right? Everyone says how low paying jobs are in the horticulture industry, which is one of the deterrent for people to come in, right? But if we can show this is the variety of careers, this is the variety of the pay scale, we can really show people that this is a place where they can have a fulfilling career financially, socially, and personally. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me afterwards, but please fill that out when it comes out in January 2025. The next thing is Green Career Week, and this is right around the corner. Seed Your Future created Green Career Week because industry kept telling me, we know we should be connecting with students, but we don't know how. It's intimidating. I know plants, I don't know children. And when do I talk to them? So we created a toolkit that breaks down all of that information. Within the toolkit, there are several pieces of information. So you can see here, there's a draft letter that invites the school to your site. social media images, hashtags, activities, an itinerary if you set up a field trip or bring students to your site, a media toolkit, press release, right? This is also meant to be a PR moment for you and your business saying, I want to hire local, I'm invested in my community, a way to engage with your community. So the idea behind Green Career Week is that you're going to do one of three things. You're going to set up a field trip, right? We want students to see your careers in action. We want them to see where you're working and how you do it. If you can't do that, go into a classroom and do a presentation. And if you can't do that, then you participate during a social media. And here we're going to go into a bit more detail. So here's an image of some students putting flower arrangements together. That's what we want, right? How can you show them why you're planting certain plants where, what they look like, how you chose them, how you plant them, the difference in the soils, right? Just however you can get them to understand what your particular career looks like, what your business does. That's what we want. And also highlighting what are some of those admin jobs that you have, because as a business, we want them to see that our industry has, yes, the plant jobs, but also all those administrative careers as well. We say March 4th through the 8th, but if you can only, reach out and connect with the school 2 weeks later, a month later, that's totally fine. We just want to push industry to find some time to connect with those local students in your backyard, because those are your future employees. Those are your future clients. Brand awareness is important. If you can get them to know who you are and what you do, you're building a relationship, right? In person, in the classroom, another fun way, right? Just go in there, talk about your company culture, what positions you have, what internships you have, what careers require a degree versus what doesn't. Really, again, the conversation is just tooting your own horn, who you are, what you do, why you do it, and why they might love to be a part of it. We've had people going into elementary schools all the way up to university. So just think about within 30-40 mile radius, who is around you that you might be able to connect with, just again, to highlight this industry and the careers. We also have a list of a few teachers across the country that want to have either a field trip or have someone come into the classroom. If you want, you can email me and I can share that list based on where you live as well. So we're also trying to get teachers to sign up for Green Career Week to help match them with a professional in their backyard. If you can't do in person with a field trip or in the classroom, then participate on social media, right? Low hanging fruit, similar, highlight your company, highlight your staff, ask them, what do you love about your job? What do you love about this industry? Why have you been here so long? What keeps you here? The thing about social media, that's where our students are, right? They're on Instagram, on TikTok, LinkedIn. So we have to take our information there. We have to have a presence where these students are on a regular basis. When you post on social media, use the hashtag Green Career Week, because we're trying to build a digital library of companies, careers, and passion. People love what they do in this industry, and the next generation of young people, they don't want to be in a 9 to 5. They don't want to work for a job. They want to work for a mission. They want to have a purpose. And all of the things that we're doing in the horticulture industry is a fit. It's a match. They just don't know what they can do in this industry. So by putting all of those interactions on social media platforms, eventually they'll be able to find us. We do tell teachers, students, and parents, follow the hashtag Green Career Week so they can learn a little bit about us. So again, the date is March 4th through the 8th. We do it twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall, so that people can have various options. And those are 2 touch points you can have with a school, with a program in your community to build that relationship. And think about it. If you even just connect with one school, that's potentially 300 to 3,000 students that now will be aware of your business and careers in the horticulture industry. So I'd love to you can put it in the chat, but how are you advertising to the next generation? I think it's something important to know that you cannot advertise to future employees the way you have been last 5, 10, 15 years, right? Students are on social media. When they see a post for a job, the first thing they do is they go check you out on Instagram. They go check you out on the social media platforms because they want to see who you are, what you're doing, what are you about. So it's very important that as an industry, we are showing up and are ready to show the sustainability that we're a part of, the conservation, the impact on mental health, right? Being in this industry and what that looks like. And just so you know, and we don't endorse any of these particular platforms, but in case you're not aware, students in colleges are given free profiles in these 3 different platforms. So Handshake, After College, College Recruiter, and they're able to talk to employers through these platforms. So if we're not represented horticulture in these spaces, again, students have no idea we exist. You can set up a profile, you can have someone that the students can ask questions about, your openings, your internships, and another great way just to be in front of those students. So do some research, see if that's a good fit for you. But just again, wanted to share that that's where students are looking for employers. That's where they're asking questions. Another place where they're connecting. Also, Instagram and TikTok, right? Use videos, use your staff, ask them to, hey, can you do a 30-second super organic post about what you love, what you do, why you're here, and encourage somebody to apply for our open position. Students, again, it's next generation, they're on social media platforms, so we have to showcase our company culture in these spaces. And then figure out short captions and what hashtags to use to reach larger audiences. Similar on LinkedIn, a lot of students are building their profiles or having conversations or sending messages to companies or following companies because they're trying to build that engagement. Remember when you were trying to figure out who you want to be when you grow up? It's intimidating, right? Between your parents, your family, your guardians asking you, hey, what are you going to do? And society pressuring you, it can be intimidating to figure out, what do I want to do? How am I going to make money? So any way that we can be in as many places as possible to have conversations with students, I think it's going to be better for the industry and for us. And again, just another way to build your brand awareness for future employees and also future customers. So I mentioned earlier, through the pandemic, we had a lot of career changers that reached out and said, hey, what can I do? I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm not going back to school. How can I come into this industry? I love plants, but what is there for me? So we would just connect them based on the city and state that we're in to local horticulture partners that we had in landscaping, nursery, greenhouse, whatever that might be, and just told them, listen, industry is trying to hire for passion, right? We are thirsty for young people and young talent, and any of those career changers that are willing to learn, we will take them. So if you're in the same boat and you don't mind being connected to anyone, just again, shoot me an email and say, hey, Jazmin, I'd love to be on your radar as you get people that are interested in coming into the industry. We're always looking for those connections for young students and also for career changers. So how can you help seed your future? With sharing our contact. We have a newsletter, we have emails. Please share out with your contacts, your network. We need as many people as possible to, one, know that Seed Your Future is a resource for industry, but also for those that are looking to come into the workforce within the industry. Link to our website. There are a lot of businesses that on their website, they'll have a logo that connects to our website, or there's a Dropbox. So again, if someone is coming to your website to learn about or get a particular service, that's low-hanging fruit, right? Inform them that, hey, not only can you make your space beautiful, you can also work in this industry if you like. Social media, we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Follow us, follow our hashtags. When you post something that's anywhere remotely related to workforce development, use our hashtags, tag us. We love those shout outs. Volunteer. We have several volunteer committees that are helping with awareness, that are helping with events, that are helping us with marketing. So if you're interested in any of that, love to have you on board. I can send that information. We have a section on the website for heroes and champions within horticulture. And that's just everyday people that are doing amazing work within the industry, right? We want to give students and young people examples of what can be done in the industry and how. So you can nominate someone on through our website. We'll do an interview. We'll get a blog post about them. So again, we just want to build a library of people and the wonderful work that's happening in the horticulture industry. And then fundraising, again, donating. Seed Your Future is 100% donor funded. And so we could use any additional support as needed. So there is my presentation. I know I went through that really quickly because I wanted to be able to have some time to connect and answer your questions, and love to get just some immediate thoughts of our resources and questions that you might have.
Thank you so much, Jazmin. That was great. Folks, if you've got questions, please put them in the chat. I pulled a few out of there, but I could definitely use some more. So Jazmin, first off, before we even get into questions, I think this is kind of cool. You sent out that quiz. I took the quiz. I'm a guardian. I don't know what that means, but it sounds pretty cool. And amongst other things, it recommended I get work in habitat restoration science, which is exactly what I do.
Yay, it worked.
So it works. Yeah, that was pretty cool. All right, so couple questions. Does your organization have any sort of official stance on herbicide use in the industry?
We don't. Seed Your Future is specifically workforce development, having conversations with students about the careers in horticulture, which is forestry, floral, landscape, ornamental hort, plant, tree, bush, grass, you name it. We are talking about those careers and the careers within the admin, the office spaces. So that is 100% what Seed Your Future is about and what we do.
Gotcha. Do you guys have any specific resources for getting students with disabilities involved in the industry?
We don't, not for any neurodivergent yet. We have curriculum that could be used. It's for middle school ages, so that's something that might be able to use. It's games, they're digital. I could see something like that could be used with different neurodivergent students. Nice.
Got a question here about funding. How are you guys funded? How does the organization work?
Yeah, so 100%, as I mentioned, donor funded. We have industry companies, industry professionals that donate to Seed Your Future. So we have about 30 donors, corporate donors that give to Seed Your Future annually. So we're always looking to increase that donor pool so that we can maintain all the resources that we have and we can grow more. The educator training that we're doing is going to be $125,000. So it is not cheap to put on this programming, but we know it's well worth it. So anyone can donate through the Seed Your Future website, or they can send us some checks in the mail. Any amount is welcome.
That's fantastic. All right, so this question resonates with me because I feel like I'm falling behind. You work to a large extent with the next generation of the industry. How do you guys keep up to date? How do you kind of keep up with new trends and be able to kind of speak to the younger generations?
Well, I am at as many conferences as possible. I am always connecting with new organizations that are out there. I mean, knowing what students are into is what's important, right? We want to know how much technology excites them. And that way we're able to talk about the automation, the AI, the innovation that's happening in the industry. When I talk to students, I ask them, what problem do you want to solve? What are your passions? And then I connect that to a horticulture career, right? That's what's going to drive someone to see themselves in this industry, not saying you should be this, you should be that, you should do that. They get told that enough, right? But if you can figure out who this young person is, what they want to do, what impact they want to have in their community, then just figure out, okay, what are the horticulture jobs associated or linked to that type of work, and give them the resources, Seed Your Future links, connect them with a professional doing similar work that they can have a conversation with and figure out what their journey, what their path will be into the industry.
All right. Another tough one. How do you measure the success of your work?
So in different ways, a lot of what we have on the website is downloadable. And so we can measure, we can see how many educators are downloading the resources, and then you equate that to, you know, this teacher has 300 students, et cetera. And so that's one of the ways we can see the metrics, is that reach of what's going on. And we've been able to find several success stories of if you go on the website, on the blog section, we interviewed one young man, Richard, who said he used the scholarship page on the Seed Your Future website to pay through for his higher education to get a horticulture degree. Had it not been for that page, he wouldn't have been able to pay for school. He wouldn't be the director of the New York Botanic Garden horticulture program today. So that's another way we've been working this year to try to find testimonials and share how it's been working for students, for teachers, and also industry.
That's awesome. That's really cool. All right. Oh, thank you, folks. They're piling in now, which is great. How about resources for Spanish speaking and other languages other than English, opportunities in that realm?
We have not been able to translate any of our work, but I'm hoping through some AI and some additional funds, we're able to get some of that stuff translated. Because yes, I would love to get it translated to other languages.
Okay, so as I think you probably know well, folks are looking for meaning in their work these days. The question here is, are there initiatives or ideas for creating a community for students outside of strictly kind of professional opportunities?
I think it just look at the different programmings that are around, right? I know of different organizations that are focusing on just getting students outdoors, right? Getting students out in nature. So think about botanic gardens that are around you. Think about 4-H, FFA. Those are doing activities, and which is good, but the conversation stops there. We also need to carry it on and say, while you can be in these spaces to enjoy and relax and unplug, you can work in these spaces, right? The conversation has to continue and say, and these are all the careers you can do in nature. These are all the careers you can do within landscape. These are all the careers that relate to sustainability, conservation, right? Like we have to tell these students we exist as an employer, as a career, or we're not going to get more young people. And we all have to do it. Seed Your Future cannot do it alone. We need your help. We need everyone across the country within the different sectors tooting the horn of how amazing these careers are and how they impact our mental, physical, and emotional health. Because that's what young people want to know. How am I a part of a mission and a passion, not just a job?
So I see more than a few people kind of giving you accolades for the salary survey that you put together. And there's a question about a 2025 edition, and if you could tell us anything about the future of that.
Yeah, so our plan is to do it every other year. We're hoping that we can start showing an uptick in salaries in that, right? And showing the need for that. Seed Your Future can scream to the rooftops, these are the careers, these are careers. But if people cannot have a living wage, depending on where they are in the country, they're not going to come, right? So industry has to meet us, has to improve the salary ranges on the lower end ones so that people are interested. And the idea is to keep doing that and get more and more people to complete the survey so that we can compare those across the country. And yes, it's the report is there. So what we'll do each year that we do it, we'll add the report to that website so you could see the running information. Like I said, it is very long, but it's very thorough. NC State is the university that's been working with Seed Your Future for 10 years to do our research, and we'll continue to work on that salary survey moving forward.
Speaking of the thoroughness of that, does that sort of survey, do you guys look into more than just like the base salary? Do do benefits come into that sort of question?
Yes, that was a huge question that we had because again, that next generation of students, they're not just looking at a salary. They're looking at how are you pouring into me as the person, as a professional, as an employee. So we wanted to get a good idea of, well, what is being offered in industry? And just another way to have a talking point, right? Hearing people say industry has really, really low salaries, it's all been anecdotal, right? We needed to have something in black and white to show us, okay, is it a particular sector? Is it, a particular career within the different sectors? What does that look like? So having that information now on black and white, one, industry can see what those are, what the results were, but then also we can share it public facing as well. And as we get more and more information, that's a resource that people can use when they're looking at maybe trying to get a higher push within their business to say, look, we have to be paying more if you want me to bring in new young talent and retain them, right? It costs a lot of money to have to hire all the time. So if you can keep staff in a place where they're happy, they're fulfilled, and they don't have to worry about finances, you're going to keep them for a long time.
Yeah, that's great. All right. My last question that I've got here, so feel free to take your time. It's a question I think about you. What inspired you to get into this work? What's your path?
I know, right? I love telling my story because again, I had no idea any of this was here. And I killed everything, cactus, everything. Because I've learned now I'm the one that loves them so much and just figured your plant, you must want more water, right? Totally not the
In
case.
there.
So when Susan Yoder, the first executive director of Seed Your Future, was going to retire, she reached out to me and asked me if I would consider applying for this position. And I was like, oh, again, I don't know nothing about plants. I know nothing about this industry. I kill every green thing I touch. And she said, industry will teach you about plants. You have that background that is needed to help Seed Your Future get in front of more people, more young people, more students that don't realize we exist. And because I believe in flowers' impact on physical, mental, and emotional health. And if you love what you do all day, that impacts your self-esteem, your confidence, your relationships around you, your own mental health. So I still feel that this is very in line with my passion of helping people within mental health spaces. So I applied and here I am almost 3 years later. And now I've had some plants that have been alive a year, which is amazing for me. I've learned about root rot, so I control my urge to overfeed my plants.
You're on the path.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So it's been really fun. It's been a steep learning curve. So I started in May 2021, went to cultivate in that summer. So July, I had to do a session and everything. But I walked into the expo and was like, holy, what? When I saw a plant, I never thought where this plant come from, who grew it, who bred it. Like, no, it's just, I want something pretty. If it's green, I want it textured. Like that was it. That was the most that I thought about. Walking through that expo, like I could never see a plant the same again. It's okay, who bred it? Where was it grown? How did it get here? And then more importantly, it's more about just that plant, right? It's the soil, it's the water, it's the lighting, it's the inputs, it's the container. Same transportation. How did it get from Florida to Houston, etc. So mind blown. I will never ever be able to look. And literally, when I'm walking, I'm like, huh, I wonder who bred that tree, or I wonder who life changing. But it's beautiful. I get to go to botanic gardens for work. I get to go speak at different conferences across the country. I'm trying to connect with as many students as possible and youth groups and youth leaders to make them aware. Everyone says be a doctor, be a lawyer, be a nurse, be a teacher. No one says be a horticulturist. No one says go into landscape, right? These teachers do not realize this industry is very the breadth and depth and diversity of it, and so they can't have those conversations because they don't know of us as an industry for those things. And so that's where Seed Your Future is trying to come in and have those conversations with all of those educators and parents. And we often hear parents will talk their students out of majoring or minoring in a horticulture discipline because of those negative perceptions. So when we did the that phase 2 telephone survey across the country, we learned that those people said, well, you're just playing with plants. Why am I going to send my kids to college to play with plants? Again, they don't realize the amount of STEM that it takes to want to keep them alive, plant them, etc. So it's important for us to get in front of them as well, so they realize this is a legitimate industry. It is professional, again, and it's so fulfilling. Everyone that I've talked to in my time here at Seed Your Future, okay, people love what they do. They're so happy, right? Rewarding, whether you're feeding somebody or you're providing a beautiful landscape for them to be able to just relax and thrive in, right? You are impacting people's lives day to day, but people take it for granted because they see grass everywhere. They see trees everywhere, right? And so we're trying to elevate that perception, but the value of what it is. And COVID helped a little bit, right? There were about, what was it, 16 to 18 million people that found plants for the first time, that found gardening for the first time. So we know through that they built a connection with those things, right? And some of those even figured out, well, how can I work with these all the time? But we have to keep having that conversation so that they know we're here as an employer and we're here as viable careers.
Yeah, geez, where were you in my past? It took me 15 years to convince my parents I have a real job.
I know. I've heard that so many times from
Yep.
our older generation saying, hey, if Seed Your Future had been around, 30, 40 years ago, it would have helped me stay, because I've known so many people that said, this is my second career, because now as an adult, no one can tell me what to do. I was talked out of it by my parents, my guidance counselor, or educator within, whether it was high school or college. So there are many people that this became a second career because they weren't allowed to come into the industry. They weren't supported to come into the industry. So if we can reach together more of those young people that know this is where they want to be, but someone's trying to talk them out of it, having these resources to help justify the career, the passion, the professional development, hopefully will bring more young people our way.
Yeah, and speaking of those second careers, the career changers, I've little experience with them, but they seem to be very motivated. Do you folks approach them in a different manner than you do, like, the folks who are just getting into the industry? Is there like a different way of kind of working with someone who's, say, 40 and moving into horticulture versus someone who might be 20 and doing it?
Yeah, I don't think so, right? It's all about that. How hungry, how passionate are you to learn, right? That was going to motivate how quick you get something, right? So it just takes time and getting your hands in the dirt, right? Getting out there and figuring out how to make things happen. But no, it's really just, as when we get somebody, I look for, okay, where are you located? What partners do we have around you? We make introductions. And because industry has told me, we just want to hire people that want to be here, that want to be a part of this work, that don't mind how hard the work is. So really it's just advertising, hey, we're here and we're ready for you. It doesn't matter if you're coming from being a server or being an accountant, because I've had both. I've had banking, someone from left banking and went bought a nursery. And so I connected that person with a bunch of other nursery owners so that he would have a system around him to make sure he was successful. Because again, he's creating new jobs, but also that's another greenhouse that stays a greenhouse and is not turned into something else.
Great. Folks, do we have
Like,
any other questions?
like
Richard, I see
Richard.
your hand went up. What do you got?
Yes. Hi, Dan. How are you? Jazmin, this was fantastic. I just wanted to get my quick 2 cents in here. What I do in New Jersey is I work with the New Jersey Nursery and Landscape Association and also some local smaller groups here to try to get school children or other types of people involved in the landscape industry. So I just wanted to say hello real quick. Look for an email from me, Richard McCoy at agza.net, and there's some things that we could probably work on together. Your talk was great, and these are all the things I talk about, like increasing the knowledge of people in the industry, raising the perception of the folks that work in this industry. We're not just a bunch of shovel lugging, wheelbarrow toting, gorilla knuckle dragging folks. That there's knowledge out there that people need to understand. And your talk was very motivating. And again, thank you, and thanks for being a part of the ELA's conference. If you have time tomorrow, just a little self promotion. I have this spot tomorrow. I'm doing a talk at 12:20. So if you have time, you can see my talk, and then you sort of know what I do, because what my company does and some of the other things we do is we do things that focus on organic turf management, and really forward-thinking things, robotics, electric lawn mowers. We built a 1.8 kilowatt solar trailer that we have a completely electronic maintenance team on. So those are some of the things I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. But if you have time to stop in, then I'll give you some more background knowledge. But I'm definitely keeping an eye out for an email. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you. Look forward to connecting with you, Richard. And
Cool.
anyone else,
Appreciate that.
please feel free to connect with me directly. Love to talk about, okay, where are you located? How can we brainstorm some ideas for you to connect with the local schools in your backyard? Because again, those students are future employees and they're future customers. Perfect.
So I want to, folks, please, round of applause again. Thank you, Jazmin. That was a phenomenal talk. Really appreciate everything you're doing.